President-elect Trump's, and this is a quote from the New York Times, testosterone-driven campaign capitalized on resistance to electing the first woman president. That says the New York Times. But our voter analysis shows that he made gains with men and with women. He improved with the groups of women that you see on your screen nationally, college graduates, suburban women, and black women. And he doubled his margin with the male vote from last time around. He won them by 10 this time and by 5 back in 2020. And that number did definitely play a role in securing his victory. Let's bring in Jack Brewer, chairman of the Jack Brewer Foundation and former NFL safety, and Antoine Seawright, founder and CEO of Blueprint Strategy. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you both for being here. Jack, let me start with you. What do you make of that headline from the New York Times?
We all know that that's ridiculous. Look, the Democratic Party has tried to redefine black men in America. I think you saw loud and clear what black men really think. We are masculine. We are not putting up with the Democratic Party telling our sons they can be girls. And you saw black men came out in droves for President Donald J. Trump in Atlanta, 25% of the black vote. North Carolina, over 20% of the black vote. Philadelphia, 23% of the black vote. These are unprecedented numbers. And you are seeing exactly what the results are when you have a Democratic Party that's leaned so far left. They're trying to tell our kids and our sons to be girls. And then you look at criminal justice, Martha, I've said it to you before. Mm-hmm. We are letting out illegal immigrants who are killers and murderers. Over 20,000 murderers in this country that are illegal immigrants. I just got back from 2 prisons in the last 24 hours full of black men that are locked up for the rest of their lives, and we're allowing these illegal immigrants to run our streets. Black men are sick and tired of being playing second and third and fourth fiddle to these Democratic policies, and we stood up, and the black men of America proudly broke through the blue wall. No more blue wall exists because the black men in America have saved this country. Praise God.
Jack, let's play this from Charlemagne the God's radio show, The Breakfast Club. And then, Antoine, want to get your reaction to both of these things, what Jack had to say and this soundbite. Let's watch.
Once again, don't just chalk it up to racism, sexism. Okay, I believe those things play a role, but at the end of the day, it's the economy, stupid. And Democrats might just be really out of touch with what everyday Americans are feeling.
Antoine, what's your reaction?
Well, a couple of things. To my dear friend Jack, I don't think black men only care about social justice issues. We are a diverse group of people in our own way, and we care about the same things that every other constituency cares about. And I would not go off on the deep end saying that Donald Trump increased all these magical numbers when it comes to black men, because everything I've seen has indicated that 78% of black men voted for Kamala Harris. And what you are quoting are exit poll numbers, but those are not raw numbers. And when you look at the overall African-American participation, there was an increase in that eligible participation. So that means the numbers may increase from 2020. But nevertheless, what I think Trump was able to do and Republicans were able to do is ride this cultural appeal with tidbits of a divide and conquer strategy and act as if they are doing one thing for certain constituencies and not doing other things for certain constituencies, meaning prioritizing groups over groups, whereas on the Democratic side, we led in many ways with reproductive freedom and reproductive justice, with women's rights agendas, and because of that, there's some groups that felt left out and left behind.
Yeah, I think that people, I think one of the big things we learned is that people don't necessarily want to be treated like they're part of this group or that group. And the reproductive freedom issue was not as powerful with voters. And it really was the one thing I think that people took away as a specific from Kamala Harris in terms of what she was running on. With regard to the numbers, what we're seeing is that the black male vote increased over the last 3 cycles, and that in each one, Donald Trump was able to bring more black voters into supporting him. Let me go back to Jack Brewer and get your reaction to what was said here by Antoine.
I completely disagree with Antoine, and he knows it. Listen, I'm talking about masculine black men. I'm not talking about black men who have played into this soft, liberal, left-leaning culture that are telling our boys to be girls. Masculine black men, like myself, are not going to put up with that anymore. And that's why people came out in droves for Donald J. Trump. And you cannot ignore the fact that black men want to produce wealth for their families, generational wealth for their families. They don't want inflation the way that it is right now. They don't want food prices the way that it is right now. Black men in America don't want, just because they live in a zip code that is underserved, for their kids to be forced into these broken public schools. Every single demographic in America, when you look at them, has an opportunity to prosper. When you go into these black and brown neighborhoods, particularly the inner cities, the ones that normally wait till 3 or 4 days after the election to announce, that didn't happen this time, because those places are ran by Democrats, and black men in those cities came out in droves. And that's the reason why this election was called before the next day was over with. And so you cannot deny these things. We can sit here and play back and forth all we want to, but we all, black men, most of us have family members in prison. We have family members impacted by the criminal justice system, and we know Donald J. Trump, who's already been convicted, is going to do something about it, because he did it last time with the First Step Act.
Half a minute left.
So
I do want to give
these are the
Antoine a
things
chance.
that black people want to vote on, and that's the reason why Donald J. Trump is the next president.
All right, you get the last half minute here. Go ahead, Antoine.
The segment, but what I will say is that I'm a black man, Jack, and I can tell you I'm not telling any black man or boy what they should be doing and how they should feel and how they should show up. What the Democratic Party has to do, and what Republican parties don't have to worry about, is the diversity of our party and the constituencies that fall under the Democratic umbrella, including with black men.
All right. Well, we saw, an increasing diversification of voters in this election for the Republican Party, black, Hispanic, women, male, across the board, which is what led to this victory. So there's a lot of rethink going on in the country. And I thank both of you, Antoine Seabright and Jack Brewer. Always good to have you both here. Thank you, gentlemen.